Hi guys, in this video lecture we will discuss about the disorder related to the growth hormones. First of all we will learn about what is growth. So growth is basically increase in the size of the body. This is called as growth. So mainly the hormone that are responsible for the increase in the size of the body, or you can say the cell. This is basically called as growth hormone. Now, as we know that this growth hormone, it is basically secreted by the pituitary gland that is mainly located below the hypothalamus. Now this pituitary gland, it have two lobes. One is called as anterior lobe, while the second one that is called as posterior lobe. Now the growth hormone, it is basically secreted from the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland and mainly responsible for the growth of our body. So in this lecture mainly we will focus on the disorders that are mainly related to the growth hormone. So before discussing this disorder, we will learn about a little bit about the growth hormones. So the first point about the growth hormone, that is about the discovery of the growth hormone. So mainly three scientists, Lee, Liu and Doxin in 1966 first succeed in identifying the growth hormones. So the growth hormone, for the first time it was identified by these three scientists. Now the second point, that is about the other name used for this growth hormone. So this growth hormone, it is basically called as somatotrophin hormone, or you can simply say that the somatotrophin hormones. So somatotrophin and growth hormone are actually the same thing. So these are actually somatotrophin and somatotrophin hormone are basically other term used for these growth hormones. Now the third point, that is about its structure. Now as this growth hormone, it is basically a small protein molecules. So basically the growth hormone are actually proteinous in nature. So as these growth hormone are protein in nature, and we know that the protein are basically made from a small unit that is called as amino acid. So these growth hormone are actually made from the amino acids. Now the number of amino acid that is found in the growth hormone are basically 9 amino acid are present in the structure of the growth hormone. Now these 9 amino acid are basically arranged in a single polypeptide chain. So here's this is basically the definition of the growth hormone. So this is basically the structure description of the growth hormone. So this growth hormone basically made from the 9 amino acid, and these 9 amino acid are basically arranged in a single polypeptide chain. So this is a short introduction about the growth hormone. Now let us discuss about the disorder that are related to this growth hormones. So basically there are two types of the secretion occur in the growth hormone. When the secretion of the growth hormone, they will deviate from their normal range, so they will create some disorders. So the disorder we have classified into two categories, that is the hypersecretion of the growth hormone, and the second one, that is hyposecretion of the growth hormone. Now the hypersecretion means that when there is over secretion of the growth hormone occurs, while the hyposecretion simply means that when there is low secretion of the growth hormone occurs. So further, this hyposecretion we have divided into two categories on the basis of their stage in which their secretion is hypers. Now in case of the childhood stage, when there is hyper secretion or over secretion of this growth hormone occur in the childhood stage, so in this case it will create a disorder. This is called as gigantism. So gigantism is basically the disorder that is arise from the over secretion of the growth hormone in the childhood stage. So when the hypersecretion or oversecretion of this growth hormone occur in the adult stage, so it will create a disorders. that is called as acromegaly. So these two disorders that are basically arise from the over secretion of the growth hormones. Now the second one, that is hyposecretion. When the low secretion of the growth hormone occurs, so it will create another type of the disorder in an individual. So further, this hyposecretion or lower secretion, it also depends on the stage on which this hyposecretion occurs. So further, in the childhood, when there is low secretion of the growth hormone occurs, so it will create a disorder that is called as dwarfism. While in the adult stage, when there is low secretion of the growth hormone occurs, so it will cause Simon disease. Now let us discuss these four disorders in detail. Now the first disorder, that is about the gigantism. So first of all, we will look the meaning of gigantism. So the gigantism term, it is basically made from the two Greek words. The first one, that is gigantus, which is used for the powerfuls, while the ism, it is used for the condition. So this is the condition in which the person is powerful. So you can simply, this is the etymology of the term gigantism. Now, what is the proper definition of gigantism? So, gigantism, it is basically the disorder of the anterior pituitary lobe. So, basically, it is characterized by the excess growth of the body. So, basically, this is the disorders mainly due to the hypersecretion of the growth hormones. So when hypersecretion of the growth hormone occurs, so in this case the excess growth of the body occurs. So this condition, it is basically called as gigantism. While this overgrowth of the body, it will occur mainly in the childhood stage. So this overgrowth, it is basically the over elongation of the bone occur in the gigantism. Growth, excess growth, it will occur in two ways. One, in the increase in the size of the bone, and the second one, that is in the increase in the length of the bone. So when there is increase in the length of the bone occurs, so this is basically the case of gigantism. So simply in gigantism, lengthwise increase of the bone occurs. So what are the causes of the gigantism? As we have already discussed in the flow chart of the disorders, so this gigantism, it is basically arise from the hypersecretion of the growth hormone. When there is hypersecretion or oversecretion of these growth hormone occur right at the childhood stage, so it will create the gigantism conditions. Now, how this hypersecretion of the growth hormone occurs? So basically, right at the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, some cell are present that is called as acidophile cells. Now these acidophile cell, when the tumor of these cell occur, it will cause the increased production of the growth hormone. So basically, when the tumor of these cell occurs, so it will produce more secretion of the growth hormone. So this is basically the causes why the gigantism it is occurs. Now what are the symptoms of the gigantism persons? So in this case, the height of person more than 7 or 8 feet. So this is the first symptoms of the gigantic persons. Are the person in which gigantism occurs. The second symptom, that is thickened neck. So their skin is just basically thickened. So the other symptom, that is the person feel joint fail and limited mobility. So these are actually the symptoms of the gigantisms. So the word recorded gigantic person, that is Robert Madlow's. So its has height about 8 feet and 9 inches. So this person, it is popularly called as Alton Gantz, because Madlow, he was born in the Alton, so that's why he is popularly called as Alton Gantz. So when he reached to the 22 years, its body weight that is 210 23 kilograms. So this is about the gigantisms. So the next disorder that is mainly related to the high food secretion of the growth hormone, that is acromegaly. So the term acro, it means that the extremity. So in this case, when the high food secretion of the growth hormone occurs, so the bone in the extremity like in the hands and feet, so these bone are actually enlarged in the size, so that's why it is called as acromegaly. Now look at the definition. So disorder of the growth hormone. So basically in this case, the over secretion of this growth hormone occurs. So what are the characteristics of this disorder, acromegaly basically? So characterized by enlargement, thickening and broadening of the bone. So in this case, basically the bone that are located at the extremity of the body, now these bone are basically enlarged, thickening and broadening of these bone occurs. Now this condition, it is basically called as acromegaly. Now what are the causes responsible for the acromegaly? So basically in this condition, the hyper secretion of the growth hormone that is basically occurs in the adult stage. So this will cause the acromegaly conditions. Now, what are the symptoms appears in an individual are the person in which the hyper secretion of the growth hormone occurs. So, enlargement of hand and feet. So, as we have already discussed here in the definition, so these are actually the extremities. So, now these extremity, the bone present in these extremity that are basically enlarged in size. The second one, that is overgrowth of the body hairs. So the body hair that are mainly located in different part of the body, so these, the overgrowth of these hair occurs. Now the third one, that is hypertensions. Fourth one, that is headaches. And the last one, that is enlargement of the visceral organ. Visceral organ, basically the organ present inside in our bodies. These are actually the hearts, kidney and lungs that are actually enlarged inside. So this is actually the second disorders of the hyper secretion of the growth hormone. Now the second category disorder that are basically related to the hyper secretion of the growth hormone. When there is low secretion of the growth hormone occurs, so it will create two type of the disorder. The first one, that is dwarfism in case of the children's, while in case of the adult it will cause as Simon disease. Now let us discuss about the dwarfism. So this is basically the disorder of the growth hormone basically occur in the children. Mainly the main characteristics of the dwarfism that a person have a stunted growth. So limited type of the growth occur in an individual. So this is basically the simplest definition of the dwarfism. Now, what are the causes of the dwarfism? So basically lower secretion of the growth hormone, it will responsible for the dwarfism conditions. Now how this, why the lower secretion of the growth hormone occurs? So basically two reasons are responsible for the lower secretion of the growth hormone. The first one, that is the cell that are responsible for the secretion of the growth hormone. So when these cells are tumorized, so due to this tumorization, the cell are unable to secrete a normal amount of the growth hormone. So that's why the amount of the growth hormone that are actually decrease. The second reason, that is the factor or the hormone that are secreted by the hypothalamus. So deficiency of the growth hormone factor that are responsible for the release of these growth hormone. So when there is deficiency of the growth hormone factors are the hormones from the hypothalamus, so due to which there is a limited or lower secretion of the growth hormone occurs in individuals. So here are some of the symptoms of the dwarfisms. So maximum height of the individual, it may reach up to 3 feet. The second symptom, that is reproductive function, is unaffected. Of the person that have a dwarfism condition, so their reproductive function or reproductive system, it will remain unaffected. Third one, that is IQ level of the individual which have a dwarfism condition, so their IQ will be same as the normal persons. So the word recorded dwarfism person, it will seen in the joity MG. This is actually from the Andean. So, and this individual, the dwarfism condition have been seen. So if we look to the height of this, so it have a height of 2 feet and 0.8 inch have a height. Now the second disorder that are mainly seen in the adults, that is Simon disease. So this is basically due to the high food secretion of the growth hormone and the adult stage. This is basically the other term that is used for this Simon disease, that is pituitary cachexia. So what are the symptoms seen in the Simon disease? So the skin on the face become dry and wrinkled. So if we look to the person that have a lower secretion of the growth hormone, so their face, it will become dry and it will look like wrinkled. Second one, that is loss of hair and teeth. And the last one, the person become older than his age. Suppose the person that have a semen condition, so 30-year-old man look like an 60-year-old man. So this is overall about the disorder related to the growth hormone. Thank you so much.